Oh, he made copies. You devil, you.
See that? Yeah. That's not good. Everybody ready?
You guys going to the gala?
Good evening. I'd like to call the Tuesday, February 19th, 2013, the City of Oldsmar Council meeting to order. Our invocation of pledge will be led by our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask. And this time, I'd ask you to please join us in rising.
Heavenly Father, send down your blessing on this meeting of the City Council. Give the City Council members a clear sense of duty and lead them to a faithful discharge of the same. Direct them in their deliberations at this meeting so that all things may be done to the glory of thy name and the welfare of the people of the City of Oldsmar. This we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, good evening. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. Our first item on the agenda this evening is our Citizens Open Forum. And this gives anybody in the audience an opportunity to address the council if they so desire. We've only got a couple rules. First, I respectfully ask you to keep your comments to no more than 5 minutes. Second, please don't speak towards anything that's on tonight's agenda. And last, when you come up to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. And I don't see Mr. Walter, so is there anybody who wants to address the council?
Oh, he's not here?
Good, Jerry Ann.
Good evening, Jerry Ann Tozy, 509 Shore Drive East. I'm here on behalf of the Oldsmar Historical Society. I'm the curator this year, and I'd like to let you all know that in front of you, I've given you a review for the year. We've been open since December 13th, 2011. And I'm not going to read everything, but I'll just highlight that during the year, we've had 2 videotapings. We've had 7 displays inside the museum. We've had 2 displays in the hallway display case. We've had 4 speakers. The Oldsmar Historical Society has participated in 9 community events. Our volunteer membership chairman, Betty Finch Mumford, has compiled her report, and we've had a total of 873 people go through the museum. So you have your volunteers, and we've had 523 volunteers and 350 visitors. Our website has over 1,000 unique hits. That means that's different people. Somehow the computer knows it's different computers that are coming to our website. At the current time, we have a Boy Scout display, Troop 64, downstairs. We have artifacts being given to us on loan by Scoutmasters Fred Barton, Kenneth Harris, and then Bob Harwell brought in a box. At this time, Fred Barton is, come on up. Yeah. He was Scoutmaster from 1992 to 1999.
Right.
Right. So what they have brought downstairs that's very neat that y'all need to see is we have a total of 5 Eagle Scout displays, and they were from Troop 64. So it's Ryan Davis, Andrew Knapp, Alex Knapp, Brian Harwell, and Chris Harwell. So under, would you like to, I'll give them a question and then let's see if they know the answer, okay?
Sure, it's not.
Okay, when was Troop 64 chartered?
100 years ago.
Well, you know, in the 1920 census, it does say Boy Scouts, but whether it's Troop 64, I don't think so. But when was Troop 64 chartered?
I know,
Jerry?
but I'm not going to say it because I just looked at it.
I know. And what's really neat, it took me to do it, it's 1964, so it's Troop 64. Is that neat?
Yeah, 64.
See, that's good.
The charter reads 1965.
And that is downstairs.
Yes.
There's a 64 and 65, yes.
And who chartered it? Who started it?
Oh, there's a list of names, Jerry. I didn't write those notes down.
Jim Howie.
Oh, Jim Howie. Oh. Okay, Jim Howie. And he was a resident plus our principal at the high school, the elementary school.
I have to admit, I saw that too.
Okay. He peeks. Y'all need to come by. Even the people who are watching the TV, come by and visit. Where are the plaques listing all the Scoutmasters of Troop 64 and all the Eagle Scouts that have been in that have come from Troop 64? Do you know where those plaques are displayed? Fred, would you like to tell them?
Right over there.
Right over here on the chamber. And I believe Fred
now we
was
told
saying,
them.
are we the only, come on, tell them. Come on,
Oldsmar and Troop 64 are the only units.
come on. Give your
That-
name. Yeah.
Okay, Fred Barton, Dwayne Avenue over here in Oldsmar. Troop 64 and Oldsmar are the only two people together that they're the plaque of all the Scoutmasters and all the Eagles is in a public place. All the rest are within the meeting places where other troops meet. And we have been commended very strongly by the council for that one point. Thank you.
Nice.
Yes, two of my sons was in it in 1967 when we moved here.
My son was in it too.
Robin and Jerry.
Oh, neat, yeah. Now, one more question, or I'll just give you the answer. How many Eagle Scouts have come through Troop 64?
27.
5, 7.
23. 23 Scoutmasters and 23 Eagle Scouts. Okay, that's my presentation. Thank you.
Hey, and I would-
Thank you, Jerry.
Jerry, I'd like to just say something if I could, because I know when we first moved into this building, I was probably somewhat critical of the Historical Society and kind of the,
You think?
well, I mean, I meant it very constructively, but I do want to commend you guys on how well you've done and how good it is, and it does me proud to even walk in there and see all that stuff. So you guys have done a great job.
And it takes the community,
Yeah.
you know, with them donating things and showing an interest. And so we appreciate it, you know. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Very much. Anybody else want to address the council? Brock?
Mayor, Councilman, Rock Creek, 603 Shore Drive. And I think I talked to a few of you before. Every time I come up here, you think I'm bitching about something. I read everything you do. Believe me, I'm online. I look at everything you do. I open every one of your agendas and everything else. And the reason why I don't come up here, because I agree with 99% of everything you do. And I look at everything. I'm one of them community people who don't sit here, but I watch what you do. But anyway, I want to talk to you about my backyard. My backyard on Shore Drive. You guys know I've talked to you before, and it kind of really pisses me off a little bit that nobody has ever gotten back to me. Jerry, when you were the mayor, you came to my house, you had hip boots up to here, you've seen my backyard. My neighbor has a damn moat in his backyard. He has a boardwalk getting to his shed. Last year, I almost did the same thing. And you guys all know that people have complained about the backyard. The house behind me is 6 feet higher than my property line. You guys, well, not you, but before you, have agreed to that property to be built back there. It's 6 feet higher. The ditch, when I moved into my house in '95, my fence, I moved in 3 feet because the ditch went down so far, my 6-foot privacy fence would have been about this high. Now, when I go back there, the bottom of the ditch from the bottom of my fence is like that far. That thing has filled up over 3 feet over the years. The most you have done is came back there and dug a little trench, put that little pipe in to try to do it. Since all this started, since I've been living there, 5 years I had no problems. What happened is, and it's everything that you have done up here that's caused these problems. I'm an environmental protection specialist. I work for the U.S. government, so I consider myself an expert in what I'm going to tell you. You have done things that have caused this problem. The ditch behind me never had another ditch on the other side of Shore Drive behind me on the south side all the way to the end of the street. You added that 8 years ago. Then you subdivided property between two houses that was supposed to be a street, and you moved the ditch back over. Then several more houses were built on Shore Drive, and I've shown you all this. Bruce, you've been in my house before. You've walked back there. Jerry, you've been back there. I've showed you this. Then, to top it off, when the houses were built, you got pipes this big around. Now you got 3 giant ditches. The whole front of Shore Drive, the back of Shore Drive, trying to flow through that. Then you had the, I can't think of the name of the street, but the weir that you had to put in. You remember the flooding, I shouldn't say the flooding, but the sediment built up, the people, I think they were going to sue the city.
County court.
Yep, Sunny Court, and you guys put the weir in. So now you have the water backing up. It has no way to get out. And I'm sitting there going, this is ridiculous. I get water up to my pool every year in the rainy season. My backyard, half my grass is rotted away. I have mold growing. I can go in my backyard and show you right now. I got like 8 feet of mold around my pool. On the grass, where the grass used to be, it's all dead, it's mold. You go in my backyard, it smells like mold. It's just ridiculous. You need to fix this. You need to dig the ditch back to where it
I
should
thought
be.
after we put the pipe in, you sent us some further photos, and then staff came out, and they had some remedies for it.
I came here 10 months ago, and I complained about the same thing. Nobody has contacted me. Nobody has came back out. The problem is getting worse.
I remember
the ditch
seeing
behind
emails
me
with them
now is
contacting
only
you, though.
Rock, I sent you an
Mayor,
email.
Janice, the ditch behind me right now, if you walk behind my house, is 18 inches below my fence. It used to be 3.5 feet below my
Well, let me
fence.
ask, Mayor-
18 inches.
Wait, Rod. Lisa, weren't you informed to go out there and look at that? Maybe not, but somebody was.
This is Lisa Ray, Director of Public Works. We have actually contracted with Cardno TBE. We've done a survey out there, and they're in the process of completing a study right now. And they did some additional survey work just about 2-3 weeks ago, up by where the pipes come out and go into Sunny Point. And so we are working on a solution. We're working with the engineer. The survey went all the way back behind your property into that ditch, and so we're waiting to get the engineer's opinion on what needs to be done to correct the problem. In addition to all of that, we are, and I've talked to Bruce about this before, we're looking at doing a whole reassessment of the stormwater drainage all the way down Shore Drive because of exactly what you've talked about over the years of this bit and that piece being done and not looking at the whole system, because if we can make one correction in one small spot, but if there's a problem upstream or downstream, it's just going to continue to perpetuate. So we want to do this, but we want to do it correctly. And putting in just one little pipe in one little place might not be the correct solution. So that's why we have had our consultant come in and start looking at this with a survey. We're also looking at exactly that weir that you're talking about. And I was talking to the city clerk about this earlier today, as a matter of fact. So we are working on this, and we are working towards a solution. So we have been working, and there were emails that went back and forth a while ago regarding this.
Yes, I would suggest, Mayor, that the city manager and Lisa keep in contact with
Well, I
us.
thought that,
Yeah,
I saw you
agree.
copied on the emails.
Contacted me the last year, and I'm a very patient person. And I can tell you this right now: years I spent in the Coast Guard, moving from here to here to here, this house. When I moved here to the city of Oldsmar,
Well, we all
mayor
work.
right here came out, knocked on my door, brought me a welcome basket, and said, "Hey, welcome to the neighborhood." I was like, "Damn, I've never seen this before in my life. This is a city. This is great." And I was here in the 70s and 80s, like I said, and the city has always done good. This thing behind me, though, it's just not me. It's everybody else around me, but nobody else is coming up here bitching besides me.
We're working on it.
Okay, and I've talked to FEMA. Maria Dopoulos, in case I butchered her name.
Dolphin.
Where is she? Is she here?
Dolphin.
Hello.
I need to single her out.
I talked to FEMA. They told me, since I'm a federal agent, that you're the person I need to talk to because right now you are not meeting the FEMA requirements for the flood insurance that the city gets. And unless this problem gets solved, the city, FEMA, what they pay for the rates is going to change.
Well, Ray,
Something has to be done. I've given this year after year, and I'm done with it.
All right, well, we're doing the study, Rock.
We're
I mean,
working on it.
Okay.
Can't do anything.
Somebody tell me something. I've
Yeah, I
asked
think
over
somebody-
and over.
I know I
Nobody has
personally
ever
emailed
told
you
me
when the study
anything.
was told it was going to happen to us. I know I emailed you. I always email you back. You sent me the pictures. I got on Lisa and Bruce.
That was
They
a
got
year
rid-
ago. That
It
was a
10
year
months
ago. That was a year ago. And I haven't heard anything since.
One thing in government studies don't happen overnight.
Well, I know that. I know. Believe me, I work for the government. I know that.
Rock, now you also know that Lisa was even talking about it today, so you can email Lisa on the
Hey,
city website.
Believe me, Lisa, thank you. I feel great. I'm sure all my neighbors feel great too. I mean, next door neighbor, her backyard, Loretta Wyatt, the water comes up in her backyard, probably 75 feet from her swale. The swale in the backyard from her fence is like this far down.
Rock.
It comes up and flows
Rock.
around my yard.
We're working on it, okay?
Okay,
And I-
okay.
We're working on it.
Okay.
And if
We
it's
can
wrong, or we
understand
did
your
something wrong, we're gonna
frustration.
fix it.
Yeah.
And we can understand
Thank
your
you.
frustration.
I'll tell you
We
what,
can definitely.
I'll tell you,
Exceed your 5 minutes.
I'll tell you what. Show that we're serious. I will go out there with Lisa to the ditch again.
Okay.
It doesn't sound.
I'll
like
join
it.
you.
Well,
No, but
Study going on.
it'll make him feel better.
Lisa, you're
Couple
getting your
weeks.
study. I consider myself kind of an expert in this field. I would more than happy to meet with you and your consultants and walk the back. I live there. I
Ron.
know which way the water flows. I know everything and
Don't
give
take
my
our-
2 cents
Don't
in.
take our microphone with you.
Well, I'm not going to take it. But anyway,
All right. Thanks.
Mayor, council people, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
and I'd like to
Lisa,
just
thank you.
say that I think it's great what they're doing because, and I apologize that you haven't gotten responded to the way you would like, but the way they're doing it is the right way. You don't want to just put a Band-Aid on it.
Oh, no,
I did
exactly.
I did hydraulic engineering for 20 years, so, you need to look at the whole thing, and that's the best thing, because they could fix yours and cause another problem, so.
Well, that's what's happened over the years. You've
Yeah.
done one thing, another thing, another thing, and it just got worse and worse and worse. But anyway, thank you very much. And like I said, the 99% of the time I don't come up here, you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, hey, babe. Could barely see you back there.
Good evening, council, mayor, Mr. Trask, everybody.
Show everybody.
My name is
your-
Babe
show
Wright,
everybody
and
your
I
arm.
live down on South Racetrack Road.
She broke her
Mr.
she broke her
Beaverland.
wrist.
I have a complaint. It's not a big complaint, it's a little complaint. I went to the library one day last week, sitting outside the library on a bench. There's 2 women, 2 children, sitting there smoking cigarettes, and the city has provided a big ashtray there. I think that's a little uncalled for. I don't think they should be smoking right in the library where the children are.
Not inside the library, this is
No,
outside.
outside, right in the front door. You have
The
to
front
walk
door
by
or
it.
the parking lot door?
The parking
Well,
lot.
I don't know. I went in the back door,
That's the back door there, yeah. There is a cigarette
Yeah.
butt thing there, yes.
but do we need that?
I mean, it's outside.
People smoke.
And if you don't put it, people are just going to throw them on the ground. It's not going to
Well,
stop.
they're already
people-
on the ground
It's not
anyway. It
going to stop
didn't-
people from smoking.
It didn't do any good to put it, the ashtray there because they were all over the ground anyway. But I just thought it kind of looked kind of tacky with the children there. That's all I had to say.
Were they their kids or other kids?
I have no
Other
idea whose children they were. They weren't mine, so I was. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Anyone else? We'll close the citizens' open forum. We'll get right into our council agenda. Our first item tonight is our consent docket. Tonight, we've got 4 items. First item is to approve the minutes of December 18, 2012 City Council meeting. Second item is to approve payment to legal counsel. Third is award bid for carbon dioxide for reverse osmosis water treatment plant. And the last is to approve the purchase of Canal Park replacement bleachers under the Manatee County bid. Does anybody wish to pull anything or question anything? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next up is City of Oldsmar, presentation of the council manager award. And that is me.
Well, you picked 2 good ones.
Yep.
Yeah, you did.
I'm jealous, Jim. I didn't think.
And I do appreciate your comments, Mr. Vice Mayor. For those that might not know, I think probably everybody knows, this is one of my final meetings as mayor and as a council member here in the city of Oldsmar. And it's been a great 10 years, and I'd like to ask our city clerk and our deputy clerk to come on down here. Do you guys have your families here? Do you want to bring them up, or you want to wait for pictures, or it's at your leisure? Yeah, bring them up. Yeah. You coming?
You're never shy before. Come on.
Hi, guys. Come on in, squeeze in. This is since this is my last month as mayor, this is actually the last time I give this award up. So it's really a privilege and an honor for me to have the opportunity to do this. And it was funny, when we have council meetings, I go into the clerk's office after I meet with Mr. Haddock, and I probably spend anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half talking to the girls and finding out what's going on here. And they're really the eyes and ears of the operation here. And you know, when we were discussing who I was going to give the award to, they were like, well, why don't you give it to Mrs. Gronacher? And I was like, no, we don't want to do that. And I was like, you know, why don't I give it to you two? So I'm actually pleasured and privileged to be able to give this to you. The clerk's, you know, the clerk office is an office that always has smiling faces. That's one thing that I always get, you know, I always have a good time when I come into the office. And there's always a high level of professionalism. You've got the council's back. There's no question about that. I know you're very supportive of me, and they do a great job of keeping my agenda very strict and tight because, you know, and Doug will find this out, and Jerry can attest to this, as the mayor, you're invited to something almost every day, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, right? I mean, just almost every day you're invited to something. So
Yeah, that's right.
they do a great job of just making sure I'm prepared, or I know where I'm going, or what I'm doing, or what I'm supposed to say, or if I'm not saying anything. Or it's just really amazing what they do, and I'm very appreciative of all of the efforts that you guys have done into it. And I know you've had my back the whole entire time that you've been clerk, and I know the whole 10 years that I've been here. So, you know, it's really an honor for me to give you these awards tonight. And the first one I will give to the Council Manager Award of Recognition presented to Ann Stefan, February 2013, and it is an honor. Council Manager Award of Recognition presented to Kathy Horvath, February 2013, and it is also an honor.
Well, I just want to say that, we couldn't do it without the leadership of the council and definitely the city manager as well. And there's more than us, just the two of us in our office. So Chris Tate and Fran Elliott, Holly LeBear, who's going to take our picture. Yeah, but I know that when an employer receives an award like this, it's an extended family, the whole family and the employees behind them and the support that makes it possible, which is really huge. And of course, my at-home cheerleading section, my son Thor, my daughter Freya, my mom, and my dad. So I thank everybody, and we're going to miss you.
She gonna cry? Is she crying?
Cry.
Is she crying?
Mentioned one of that. I forgot to do this. It's been a long day for me, but one of the reasons I selected them is I probably have, with the exception of Mr. Haddock, I have more interaction with them in City Hall than any of the employees, and all of our employees and all our department heads do a great job. But it's just these two terrific ladies, and Holly does a great job. But I just interact with you two the most out of anybody here in the city, with the exception of Mr. Haddock. So very well deserving. I congratulate you, and I applaud you, and hope you guys keep up the good work. Thank you.
Oh yeah, hold up your, hold up your words. There you go. All right, we're good. Thank you.
And I'll take a hug from you. Hug from you. And even a hug from you.
Kathy.
Mr. Mayor, while you're coming back up here.
I'm staying down.
Oh, you're staying down there?
Yeah.
Well, let me say this, that the mayor was correct with the city clerk and with Ralph over here.
Good job. Good job, Mayor.
That's her nickname. That
Kathy's
they actually
crying.
protect, they actually do
Perfect
protect
to give it to them.
the mayor.
It's perfect.
They watch out for him all the time to make sure he does, especially with me, that you don't say anything wrong, or they correct me, or they do.
No question.
I mean,
They do it to all of us.
they keep the mayor.
Especially you two. No.
But they really do protect the mayor's position. They really do.
I really don't think any of us could do our job without them. Not do it right.
And I actually considered giving it to Bruce, and no offense, but it would be like giving myself the award. So it's got the name on it. It just didn't make sense. So we'll do something for him next meeting, maybe. Okay. All right. We're moving on. Next up, we've got the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And is Cindy and Al going to come up here, or is it just Cindy? Just Cindy, not you, Al? You did all the work. Shake your head. Is this the 18th or 21st year? Which one? 23rd. 23rd?
23rd,
Come on up, Cindy.
23 years.
First of all, another pleasure of the city of Oldsmar. I know a lot of other local politicians here that do the budgets and stuff each year. And for 10 years, I can honestly say that we've never really had any issues with the budget. We've actually sailed through it pretty well, and that's a testament to Bruce and Cindy and Al and all the people in finance and all the department heads. And for 23 years in a row, the city of Oldsmar has received the most prestigious award that you can receive when it comes to financial reporting, and it's called the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, and it's presented to the city of Oldsmar, Florida, for its comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year ended September 30th, 2011. A Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting is presented by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada to government units and public employee retirement systems whose comprehensive annual financial reports, also known as CAFRSs, achieve the highest standards in government accounting and financial reporting. And Cindy, it's an honor for me to present this to you for the 23rd time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have an amazing team in finance and administrative services that makes it possible to do this year after year. And I'd like to thank Al and everybody back home in finance and Barb, the whole gang. So we have a great team and looking forward to getting many more. Thank you.
It's been my honor to give you the last 6. So.
They also protect the mayor and the council.
Such a nice box. I love it. All right, next up, we've got the presentation of the February 2013 Employee Service Awards, and Mr. Haddock is going to do those.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 employees scheduled to receive a 15-year award. One is not able to attend the meeting tonight, Ben Pugh, so he'll be presented the award at a different time. And we're going to go based on seniority. So the first recipient tonight is Sue Farrell.
Hi, boss.
I think I'll just talk a little bit, but of course, it was only 5 years ago you were here for the 10-year award, wasn't it? And that went pretty smoothly, as I recall, I think, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we'll try and do a repeat tonight. Here's an envelope.
Thanks.
This service award is in recognition for 15 years of service to the city of Oldsmar, presented to Sue Farrell, 1998 to 2013. So you take that also.
Thank you.
And when I make the presentations, I like to share a little bit of information about the employee and what they've done in their career with the city of Oldsmar. Let's see, why don't we have your family come up for that? This, Chris and the twins.
We're definitely getting you guys on TV.
Hey, Chris. Bruce. Were you here 5 years ago when we did this?
Yes.
I thought I remembered y'all being here too. And Sue currently works in public works and utilities, and she's had a few different jobs in her 15-year career with the city of Oldsmar, all in utilities. And she started work as a meter reader. And I'm sure if I leave anything out, you can fill in the blanks. But then for several years after that, she worked in the utility billing office, customer service clerk, senior customer service clerk. And from there, she worked at the water reclamation facility. and as a customer service clerk, and all the jobs are challenging, perhaps some more than others, but like in any job, there's good days and days that aren't quite as good. And then most recently, she was promoted to senior administrative assistant, and now she works at the new reverse osmosis water treatment plant. So that's been a varied career, and Sue is a very valuable employee due to her extensive knowledge of the utility operations. And I think you can understand just from that brief summary that she has a wealth of experience in field work, in the office, and from top to bottom, inside and outside. So she's a tremendous resource to both the employees and the public, and has great knowledge of the utilities, water, wastewater, reclaimed, and stormwater and solid waste, the whole shooting match. So I'm happy that this evening we can say thank you and acknowledge and congratulate you on your 15 years of service to the City of Oldsmar.
Thank you.
Okay.
You and Loss?
Okay. Well, Holly's still got to take our picture, I guess.
She also coordinated all the awards to the grammar schools.
Yes.
That's coming up. Don't forget, that's coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
Water conservation?
Yeah, water conservation.
Well, I said hello to Chris when he walked up, but you didn't introduce your twins.
This is Colin, and this is Caitlin.
Okay. I'm glad y'all could come back tonight, too. Congratulations. And also, the second award this evening is for 15 years of service, also presented to Todd Cash. And bring everybody up here with you, Todd. Okay, let's see. Take the envelope first. Service award in recognition for 15 years of service to the City of Oldsmar, presented to Todd Cash, 1998 to 2013. Congratulations on that. And why don't you introduce who is here with you tonight?
It's my wife, Stacy, my son, Toby, and my son, Tanner.
Glad y'all came tonight, too.
And neither one of them were old enough 5 years ago, so.
I wasn't going to ask them that question. I didn't think they would remember it if they were here. And I mentioned right in the beginning that these are both 15-year awards. We went by seniority because actually Sue started in January and Todd started in February. So she was here when you started, wasn't she?
She's the only reason I'm still here.
Todd currently serves as chief operator at the water reclamation facility. And everybody may not know what that is. That's the wastewater treatment plant is what we used to call it. Water reclamation facility is where the reclaimed water is produced. And when you started your career with the City of Oldsmar, I think you came, and when you started, you were a wastewater treatment plant operator, right?
Correct. I had a C license.
Okay, I couldn't remember all the details, but so then you progressed on and through the licensing by the state, and then you start out with a C, and after you work with time and experience, and you have to go to school, and I think there's some examinations along the way too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you become a B operator, an A operator, and Todd has progressed through all those levels, and now currently serves as our chief operator at the water reclamation facility. So I want to thank you for your contributions to the City of Oldsmar, and I'm happy that we can just recognize and acknowledge your 15th year anniversary tonight and say thank you and congratulations. We appreciate all that you do. Congratulations.
The city manager won't tell you, but even before that name, we used to call it just a plain sewer plant. And then they got fancy names for it. Well, some of them call it something else, you're right.
It's actually funny that we had the 3 awards that we're going to give tonight, all 3 were for 15 years.
15 years.
Todd and Sue, congratulations, well-deserved. Hope to see you for another 15 years here in the city of Oldsmar because you guys make the city what it is. I want to congratulate you both.
They
Quite
were,
an accomplishment.
I'll tell you, what they do down there, y'all don't realize it. But if they don't do what they do down there, y'all are in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
We really appreciate what you do down there.
Especially in July and August.
At the Super Bowl.
All right, I lost my spot. We're at number 8. Number 8, consider the reappointment of Babe Wright and Rita Clark to the Code Enforcement Board. Ladies, will you come up? You made it. It only took us 35 minutes, so it's not too bad.
Thank you.
You guys have heard this spiel before, but again, thank you for wanting to serve on this board. This is a board where you don't make any friends. There's no question about that. But a couple years ago, 5 or 6, the city council decided that a lot of the members we were appointing to boards we never saw. We didn't know who they were, and we wanted to do that. You know, we both know you guys, and you guys know us all pretty well. So I don't have any questions for you. I don't know if you have any questions for the council. With that said, thank you for serving on that board, because that's a very important board.
We've been doing it a long time.
Yes, you have, yeah. And, well, you've been on the side of on the dais as well, so we thank you for that, too.
Thank you.
I need a motion to appoint Rita and Babe. We got a motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, you're still serving on that board. Thanks.
Thank you.
I just want to say, ladies, that it's nice to have good, strong, tough women on that board.
Tell you something, how tough it is sometimes. When you're sitting on the same council with Babe, you know exactly where you stand with her.
That's good.
And I've known Babe since, 1974, something like that. It's been a while. Sometimes she'll tell you, sometimes she'll say, Jerry, I'm not going to vote for you this time. Here's why. And I say, that's fine, Babe, I understand.
All right, next up, we got city attorney.
Mr. Mayor, council members, item number 9 on the agenda is the second final reading and public hearing of ordinance 2013-01. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2013-01, an ordinance of the city of Oldsmar amending the land use designation on that certain real property described as lots 5 and 6, Phase 1, Tampa Bay Park of Commerce, from county designation of industrial limited to the city designation of industrial limited, and providing for an effective date. That was the second and final reading of ordinance 2013-01 by title only.
Thank you very much. I have a motion for ordinance 2013-01. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion second. It's a public hearing. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this ordinance? Seeing no one from the public, I'll close the public hearing. Anyone on council?
Nope.
Questions, comments, concerns? If not, call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Beaverland?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Aye.
Councilmember Beavis?
Aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Yes.
Mayor Roniker?
Aye.
Second and final reading of ordinance 2013-01 for a land use amendment from county designation of industrial limited to city land use designation of industrial limited is passed and adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. And I just mentioned that this is just merely a housekeeping measure, as this next ordinance is going to be.
Mr. Mayor, council members, item number 10, second final reading and public hearing of ordinance 2013-02. I'll read that by title only. An ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, rezoning certain real property described as lots 5 and 6, Phase 1, Tampa Bay Park of Commerce, from Pinellas County zoning designation of IPD Industrial Plan Development District to the City of Oldsmar zoning designation of M1 Limited Manufacturing District, and providing for the effective date. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2013-02 by title only.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion for ordinance 2013-02?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Got a motion second? Again, this is another public hearing. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this ordinance? Seeing no one from the public, I'll close the public hearing. Anyone on council?
We only have one other property out there to get now.
Yep. Well, 2. Not in the same area. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Beaverland?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Aye.
Councilmember Beavis?
Aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Yes.
Mayor Roniker?
Aye.
Second and final reading of ordinance 2013-02, rezoning from county zoning designation of IPD to city zoning designation of ML, is passed and adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council members, item number 11, second final reading and public hearing of ordinance 2013-05. I'll read that by title only. An ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending sections 2.1 and 5.1.2 of the City of Oldsmar Land Development Code to provide for definitions and to provide a substantial improvement time limit, amending sections 2.1 and 3.3.3 of the Town Center Development Code to provide for definitions and provide a substantial improvement time limit, and providing for an effective date hereof. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2013-05 by title only.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for ordinance 2013-05?
So moved.
I got a motion and a second. Again, this is a public hearing. This is really another housekeeping measure, but does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this ordinance? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Anyone on council? Nope. Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Beaverland?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Aye.
Councilmember Bevis?
Aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Yes.
Mayor Roniker?
Aye.
Second and final reading of ordinance 2013-05, amending certain sections of the Land Development Code and Town Center Code pertaining to substantial improvements, is passed and adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you very much. Anything else for the city attorney?
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item will be the second and final public hearing on the Wellington Estates Development Agreement. And there was, the first public hearing was 2 weeks ago on February 5th. There may be people in the audience this evening who did not attend that meeting, so I would ask that we also tonight have a presentation from the staff and a presentation from the applicant before the public hearing is opened. This is a single-family home residential subdivision of 30 units. It's located south of Lafayette Boulevard and east of State Street. I'd like to ask our Planning and Redevelopment Director, Marie Dauphiné, to provide a brief background. I don't think you need to go through everything that was presented last time, Marie.
Okay, Marie Dauphiné, Planning and Redevelopment Director. This is the request for approval of a development agreement between BVK Wellington Estates LLC and the City of Oldsmar to develop 30 single-family residential units, and the property is approximately 10.76 acres. Salient points of the agreement include the owners agreed to construct the State Street extension in accordance with the State Street construction plans, the gravity sewer line in accordance with the gravity sewer line construction plans, and install reclaimed water lines. And the city will provide the owner transportation and water and sewer impact fees, credits, and will also contribute toward the overall construction costs of the State Street extension. The applicant will also be required to plat the property, and the agreement is valid for 5 years. The property is on plan unit development, and under the umbrella of the plan unit development, the property is a residential plan development, RPD. This project is at variance with the RPT regulations. The common recreation area has been reduced from 20% to 0%. The minimum building lot width has been reduced from 75 feet to 65 feet. The perimeter buffer has been reduced from 35 feet to 20 feet, and the requirement for bike paths has been eliminated from the development agreement. Upon approval of the development agreement, these variances will also be approved. Staff is recommending approval of the development agreement, and the planning board also concurred with staff's recommendation with the stipulation that the agreement contained 35 feet buffer. And I passed out the aerial so you can see, you know, the property in relation to the lots fronting on Lafayette. So if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Well, I have a question for the city attorney. Is that okay? I'd like to have the city attorney, excuse me, validate that what we're doing here is within our codes and the law.
There's a couple of different provisions in your code that talk about development agreements. It's also followed up with a state statute dealing with development agreements. The city has provided staff recommendation on the different issues relative to the variance request. You've also got in your packet a breakdown of information from Avid Engineering. You're holding a public hearing to receive additional comment from the public as to the variance issues and the development agreement itself. You have the legal right to do this, consider this development agreement and approve it if necessary if you find that there is, you know, substantial competent evidence to go ahead and approve this development agreement. So long as staff tenders in the evidence, the staff report, which I think that's what Marie wants to do today.
Yes, I'd like to enter the staff report into the record.
Okay, and when the applicant is finished, I assume that the applicant will be wanting to put their response into the record as well. And then you would have, my estimation, based upon that information that's already presented in the packet, sufficient enough information
All the
to make a
variances
decision.
is all in this.
It is in there. There has been a change from the last time that you heard this issue at the first public hearing. There have been a few changes to the development agreement. The development agreement was revised to include some additional findings that the state statute required relative to its consistency to your comprehensive plan. And it also added some language relative to the 4 variances that were being requested, so they are included in this development agreement. Those were really the only changes that were made from the last time, and it was to address some issues that were brought up. So I'm comfortable with it.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else have any other questions for staff or the city attorney?
I have a question for Marie, or I guess just clarification or maybe expansion on I guess the 4 variances. And the 4 variances are really required, I guess, because of the RPD/PUD and those things. And I know the answer to this, but these type of developments are normally much larger on the scale of a West Chase or something like that.
Correct.
Where you would have common park areas, where you would have bicycle paths, where you would have, what is the other thing we're missing in there?
And perimeter buffer.
Yes, the buffers and things like that. This was changed to that. So obviously it doesn't make sense to have a common park area. In lieu, they're going to do parkland dedication, I guess, within the city of Oldsmar. So it's not like it's 0. They're just choosing to do it elsewhere. It doesn't make sense to have, a bicycle path, on a cul-de-sac. I understand. So you do the variance there. If this was not a PUD or an RF or a RPD, what would it be? Maybe could they be an R1?
It would be R2,
R2.
residential single family. Similar to Bay Arbor. Bay Arbor is R2, residential single family with an RPD overlay, which required open space elements, common recreation, et cetera. But I think this is the first subdivision that the council has considered since Bay Arbor, and I think that was in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Before me.
And usually, the code was adopted in the mid-'80s, so we really haven't done any amendments to it, but, things have changed over the years, and one size doesn't fit all, so at that time in the 80s, the RPD regulations, were consistent with what was going on, but.
And if it was an R2, and, we had this discussion at the last meeting, but as the city manager mentioned, there might be people that aren't here. If it was an R2 or a light residential to residential, what would the buffer be requirement?
There wouldn't be any buffer requirement. It would just be the setback, the 10-foot rear yard setback from property line, from structure to property line.
So if it wasn't this, it could be an R2 and there would be 0 buffer,
Yes.
potentially. And probably even worse ramifications than what it is with the RPD. They might have even more flexibility within.
Well, as,
I guess my question is, they could have,
variances are granted for the, R2 single family also, setbacks.
but they could have
body
potentially
area.
more lot. They could have potentially more homes too.
R2 could have a lot more homes, yeah.
And so, when I look at this and you weigh it all out, and I appreciate the emails that we got, and I was going over it with the city manager. As you just said, not everything fits, perfectly in a box, and there are things that we do variances on it. As I said, it doesn't make sense to have a bike path in there, and some of the things just don't fit. And that we could do this. This could be done a different route and accomplish the same thing, or I guess potentially worse for the surrounding neighbors if it was an R2. So is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
As an R2, it'd be a lot worse.
I guess I was trying to make that point, even though I knew the answer. Thank you.
I would like to say something. I agree that if it were an R2, we'd have a certain set of codes and ordinances to follow for an R2. The fact is that it's not an R2. So I understand having to have flexibility, and I agree. There shouldn't be bike paths. A lot of these I do agree with. The bike path on State Street, that wasn't indicated in here, but in talking to Bruce, I was happy to see that in other parts of the development agreement, it does show that a 10-foot bike path will be going on State Street instead of 2 5-foot, because I would be against no bike paths whatsoever, because there's a set of rules for R2, there's a set of rules for PUDs, there's a set of rules for RPD. Variances, of course, I understand, but I also have read the information and have listened to the residents. And
Councilmember, I can't have you making comments at this time. I can only have you ask questions.
okay.
I didn't know which way you were going, so I wanted to stop you if you were just going to make comments.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so I see also that, so I was agreeing with part of it. So the planning board actually agrees with all of the variances with the exception of the 35-foot buffer, it says here at the end of the report. So the planning board has reviewed all of this, agreed with everything except for the buffer, the size of the buffer.
The variances weren't, I guess, brought out specifically. I mean, they were generally talked about at the planning board, but the ordinance really wasn't prepared then, so it's not in this format. But
So
they
at
still
the
wanted
end-
the buffer.
Okay, so at the end here, they didn't know about the other 3 variances, they only knew about the variance for the buffer. They're against.
They requested their variance.
They requested the variance to be 35 feet.
Yes.
So no variance. So basically, they
Yes.
requested that variance not be granted.
Correct.
The planning board
Correct.
said that. Okay.
Anybody else? All right, applicant?
Rick Jodre from Avid Group. We're the engineer on the plan, on the development. We've been sensitive about this buffer the whole time. There's a line of financial feasibility that has to be met on all projects. Holding strict adherence to 35-foot meant 4 lots would not be there, which meant this project wouldn't go forward. Okay. We also try to protect the rights of the people that are going to live there. Okay, I mean, the people on Lafayette could clear their lots all the way back to their property line. The way we have it now, you have a 20-foot buffer. And we think the original intent of the code, which was for multifamily, meant they didn't want a multifamily being closer than 35 feet to that property line. So what we did as what I think is a very sound compromise is we made our building setback along that line 35 feet. So the only structures that could possibly be within that 20 to 35 feet mark would be accessory structures, a small shed, a swimming pool, something like that. So there's actually no footed structures within 35 foot. That is to some degree a 35-foot buffer from other buildings. Okay, so we think it's a good compromise. It's a compromise that guarantees some financial feasibility for the project versus project probably not going forward. Okay, so
There's no structure 15 feet from the 20-foot buffer, is what you're
correct.
saying.
Within 35 feet of that line between us and the Lafayette residence, there'll be no structures.
Now, when you talk about a structure being
A home.
a home,
A home. Now, in between 20 and 35, you can have an accessory structure, which could mean a small shed or a swimming pool. Okay, so I think we've kind of found a balance there that probably meets the original intent of what that 35 feet was all about.
Well, have you, I suggested or asked last time that, the 35 feet I think is excessive. But I suggested that could you compromise another 5 feet for 25 feet?
Obviously
I think that's a good
Wait a minute,
suggestion.
let him answer.
Suggestion.
Yeah, let him answer.
It's kind of a road that once you start down, you never end. Okay, I think we've made a very good compromise. We've met more than half.
No, I understand that.
of the
When you
buffer.
start down a road, you may have a flat tire. Okay, so, and then you have to stop and have your fix your tire. So just because you're going down the road doesn't mean you can't change something, like changing a tire. So I ask you the question again.
And let me say something, with the 35-foot setback, we've reduced tremendously the size of the home that could be built there. Okay, which within itself
I'm just
provides a
asking
lot
you,
less impact.
Is it a possibility of a 25-foot buffer? That's either a yes or a no.
It's not my decision to make, but I can gather that it's not a possibility.
It's not a possibility?
I don't know if it's financially feasible.
Well, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
Who can answer that question? Can you answer that question?
I don't know if the developer can answer that.
I'm just asking, is a 25-foot buffer possible?
Chris Conkle, 209 Waterview Court, Safety Harbor. I am the applicant and the developer of the property. The 25-foot buffer will inhibit the ability to build pool packages behind these homes. So here we get back into now what's the levity here. What we've done is created levity by not building a structure within 35 feet of the back property line, which I think satisfied some of the needs of the Lafayette homeowners. Again, if we go back to an R2 zoning, there wouldn't be this buffer required. So I think we've made a lot of levity and changes here to convince my end user, who is in my homes, that we can't build a home within the 35-foot building setback. However, pools can be built within that setback. We work with the city attorney to restructure the developer's agreement to indicate that additional language in the developer's agreement, and obviously we'll be held to that agreement. So I think we've made a lot of headway here to try to still keep value in the type of house package that can be built on
We want the value of the house.
6 or 7 lots that come into play here.
Now
So-
my question again, is it possible you could live with a 25-foot buffer?
No.
But they wouldn't be able to pool, so
Are you finished?
I'm finished.
Okay. So in the long run,
we gotta keep the questions right now. We do comments after we get everything else. I was told-
Okay.
The city attorney told me that.
okay. Okay,
Okay, you got
Yeah.
just comments?
yeah, I have
I have one
comments.
question.
Any questions?
Because I'm a little shady, not too clear on this. The difference between a setback and a buffer. The actual homeowners that's going to buy that lot is going to own that property. The buffer is saying you can't do anything but a pool within 20 feet. Or no, you can have a
Within
shed.
20
You
feet,
can't
they
do a
can't do
house or anything.
anything within 20
You can't do anything within 20 feet of
There's a
the
20-foot
property line.
buffer.
But they own that property, but they can't do anything with that property.
Correct.
But as
They
far
have
as
to
the
maintain
trees
it.
and all that kind of stuff, that's up to y'all, whatever you're gonna do
Correct.
as far as trees. So they're gonna own the property, the house has to be farther away, nothing can be but within 20 feet. So what we're debating right now or seeing as feasible is pushing that farther, and you're saying no, because then you can't offer pool packages.
Correct.
Because you've already made it a different size, you've kept it at the 7,500, but you've already made it 65 instead of 75 width. Is that correct?
Well, the
Still a 75.
65-foot is a pretty standard builder-sized product. It's usually on the high end. It's the largest that most of the local builders build. The average lots are about 50 to 55 feet. So these lots are already larger than most builders normally build.
Okay, so
Okay,
the,
so we've satisfied the original was 75 feet, 65 feet was as small or as big as we could get and still retain some, again, financial feasibility.
okay, so the difference to the people that live on the other side of the lot line basically is a difference of 15 feet of what that homeowner's going to put in his backyard if he has enough room to put a pool
Correct,
or a shed.
yes.
It's not going to have anything to do with trees and anything else.
No, it has nothing to do with trees.
It's
That
the-
first 20 feet cannot be touched, period.
Right, the first 20 feet cannot be touched.
Correct.
Thank you.
And also to the applicant. What? No, I was gonna say that whatever the buffer is, you're gonna leave everything there possible.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, you're gonna have somebody down there behind this desk up here screaming at you.
We'll leave and we'll supplement whatever is left if it's not enough in certain spots. You know, sometimes you just might have a little hole here or there. And that would be supplemented with some understory type plantings.
Councilmember Vivas.
I have a question. We all received the emails and read through them, and just for clarity, one of the questions was the quality, and I guess not necessarily quality, but the price point of the home. And to get back to your feasibility, and the loss of 4 lots and the various components that go into the financial component of this, I assume that because there was a question, $350,000, but they could always come in and put a $125,000 home. I assume, and I know the answer to this, that does not, you have to do this, otherwise it's financially not feasible. So they are going to be this type of a price point. I mean, you can't switch it out because there's not enough profit margin in it to make it even workable. Is that correct?
I mean, the price point is established by the market.
These are just some elevations of some of the homes that MI is planning on building in there. And when you add a pool package, you're looking at $350,000 to $450,000 homes. So
to answer your question, there's a 25-foot front setback on all these homes. So when you take that in consideration with a rear setback, it doesn't leave a very large building envelope in which to build a house and pool package. So a lot of what we've tried to do here in satisfying a building within 35 feet is to accommodate some of the concerns on the Lafayette homeowners. So I think we've made great strides with what little we have to work with on a lot fit in order to have a complementary house to fit out the rest of the houses that meet setback requirements that don't abut a Lafayette homeowner, which happens to be about 24 of the 30 lots. So we can't all of a sudden build 24 homes in there that have values of 400 to 450,000, and then all of a sudden we've got to shrink down a $250,000 house because I can't build a package that complements the other homes. So
Well, one of the problems, to further on here, see, one of the problems I've always had for the last 30 years I've been sitting up here or somewhere doing all this, is that you are going to build these houses, right?
that is correct.
Because a lot of times, this council and past council sit here and somebody shows us a Cadillac and then delivers a Fiat. You're not going to do that, are you?
Absolutely not. First of all, just so you understand, as the developer of this project.
No, I understand it. I just want you to,
I am
want you to know
fronting
that, wait a minute, I just want you to know, don't show me a Cadillac and then bring me a Fiat. That's all I want.
In order to develop this project, the monies that the city is foregoing on impact fees and contribution towards the development of State Street, I, as the developer, am funding roughly $160,000 delta. In order to do that, I need to be able to sell finished lots to my home builder, make some money, obviously, but then they've got to be able to sell a house that's four to 4.5 times that lot price. So when you add all that factoring in, we then get up into the $400,000 to $500,000 home sites. So, in fact, the homes may be bigger when all's said and done. As you start selling in a community and you get the velocity of selling, then home types change and they get bigger. So MI, I can tell you, is very anxious to be in here and excited to be as a part of the community.
On those renderings that you have there, MI currently uses those now in developments?
Oh, sure.
Do you know of what development locally would be using those plans?
They do a lot of stuff in South Hillsborough County, so I can't tell you what they are, but I can certainly let staff know and I can have you guys.
My daughter lives in one, I think, do they work in Pasco?
Yes, they do.
My daughter lives in a big 2-story, which she doesn't need one of these homes.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I owned a MI home in North Tampa. Just bought it as an investment property, and it was the model home, and it was absolutely stunning. Yeah. Okay, any other questions for the applicant?
I have one.
Sure.
He showed, I thought they were all 2-story. You have a,
No, there's some single.
One story.
didn't they say they were all 2 stories the last time?
I hope they're not.
I would have sworn they said that.
There's 2 types in here that are single family and some are 2-story. But then again, it's the type of selling veracity they get in there. They're setting up a model center.
No, I don't care. I'm just trying to clarify. I'd have sworn somebody said that they were all 2-story. And then when I saw that, I saw some that weren't 2-story. That's why I'm asking. No big deal. I'm just asking.
I got to ask you guys this, as the applicant, you're willing to tender into evidence what you said?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Needed to know that. Thank you.
Well, I have one more question. This is important. It's important because it's a big deal for y'all. It's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for everybody. And since there is, some unhappy homeowners, and you guys are doing what you can to help the homeowners are doing what they can to get what they can. In the event that the vote doesn't go one way for the homeowners, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't. But I know that one of their concerns is being able to have more of that country feel and the buffer. That's why they want the buffer. So what kind of, not guarantee, but what can you say to assure them that as many trees are going to be left as possible? Because I know that people want trees in their backyard. A lot of people will pay a premium for conservation lots. What kind of assurance can you give them that if they're not going to get their buffer, that at least they'll still get some trees?
Well, within the 20-foot buffer that's established around the entire site, I'm doing a selective tree clearing with the tree clearing subcontractor to make sure that all the trees along that buffer are preserved and kept in place. And I think from the tree survey, there's roughly 30 to 40 trees along that entire buffer line that will be maintained. In fact, some of them are very large oaks. In addition, I would make some exceptions to do some low-lying vegetation and plant material along that Lafayette series of homes, 6 or 7 homes, to create additional buffer for them as well.
You would be able to you would be able to
I will
assure them.
augment some additional plantings in that area, absolutely.
Okay, and then one more question. Is there going to be a wall around the subdivision?
No.
No, so it's going to be the trees? Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We might get back to you after we hear from the public. Thank you. All right, I know we've got some folks probably in opposition, so I will allow you guys 3 minutes to make whatever statements or comments. Yes, Denise?
Denise Bennett, 251 Lafayette Boulevard. There are 10 standards for granting variances, and they all must affirmatively exist. The variance should not be sought as a result of the action of the applicant. Well, it seems like it is their action. They designed the site plan. They start with a blank slate, and they should be able to design something that works within the code. Item 5 states that these variances are the minimum required. If they had a few less units, perhaps, they wouldn't need any variances. They need the variances to have 30 units. Item 6 states that the request is not based on the desire to secure a greater financial return on the property. Well, it was stated 2 weeks ago, and it was stated tonight. It is about financial return. Mr. Pence stated last week that the 35-foot buffer would be included, would cause them to lose units, and it would be a financial hardship. By giving them the variances, you're really granting them a bonus. Item 7, 7,500 square foot lots are not compatible with 20,000 square foot lots that abut them. If their intent was to be compatible, the sizes of the lots closest to us would be larger and decrease as you head to the south. And even granting these variances, there are still a few things. They're requesting giving up the rec areas in lieu they're going to provide payment in lieu of having the rec areas. This is allowed only when the provisions of Article 5.9.2.5.2b is met, that 15% of the lots substantially exceed the minimum lot size of 7,500 square feet. I don't see that that's been done. It further states that within 150 feet of the perimeter, the proposed uses and lot coverage shall be compatible with the established neighborhood. That means within 150 feet of ours, the lot should have similar coverages. And E2 is 45%. They are allowed to cover 6,250 square feet of a lot, but at 45% within that 150 feet, they would be allowed to cover about 3,400 square feet. It just seems that, they're wanting all the benefits of an RPD with the small lots, putting the houses together, but none of the inconveniences. The rec areas and the bike paths and the 35-foot buffer just don't make money. I understand that. And everyone seems fond of saying we're single family abutting single family. But the code recognizes that this is a drastic change in density and lot coverage, and the intent of the code was to buffer the neighbors and provide a better transition. And 35 feet is not excessive.
I have a question, Denise. Does this development directly does this development touch your land anywhere?
I'm not sure if it does in the corner or not.
So you won't even have a buffer behind your house?
No, but everyone else along the street.
I understand that, but this does not directly confront your piece of property. It doesn't touch your property anywhere.
Abut.
Well, about.
I think is it 5 properties that it touches?
Yeah.
No.
But Denise's, it does not touch Denise's property. She will not have a buffer because she has 100 feet behind her house. There is a lot behind her house.
But she still has the right to come and speak for other people.
I understand that, but
He didn't say that.
But I want that to make that clear.
Yeah.
That needs to be made clear. Okay, I understand what she's doing, and that's fine. But this does not directly abut her piece of property.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Okay
the parcel that fronts Lafayette Boulevard into the mix to grant variances, the 1.16 acres on Block 105. And this never rezoned, it's E2, it's not RPD. And I don't know why this is being thrown into the mix. It sounds like you're presupposing that it's going to be rezoned.
Okay, I don't understand the question. What was
I
that?
don't either.
There's a triangular piece of property that fronts Lafayette
yes.
Boulevard.
Yes.
Oh, this
So
one?
that's not in, but that's not in this.
No.
That's not in this development.
It's in the variance request according to the application.
Okay, but I'm going to go on to some other people, but I'm just going to clarify with the city attorney that the criteria for the variances you're comfortable with, pretty much were all her points on the variances criteria. You've already addressed that you're comfortable with that, correct?
Yeah, but it's a factual determination that you're going to have to meet. The staff has addressed them, the applicant has addressed them. She has raised questions and addressing some of the issues, and so you have to weigh that evidence to make your determination.
I understand that, but the question is, you were comfortable with the criteria the variances being met? I think Councilmember Beavis asked that question earlier, right?
Actually, yeah, the vice mayor did.
The vice mayor did.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the development agreement as it's prepared.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else want to address the council? Nobody else? And your name and address for the record, please.
Dave Kirchkessner, 257 Lafayette, and I do have a lot that connects with all those. For me, it appears that they're proposing nice homes, and of course we want something that's compatible with where the homes that we live on. You know, the buffer issue, I know that's a concern. We'd like to see that. We're now have learned that we have now a 10-foot bike path in our front yard going on Lafayette. That's not part of this agreement tonight, but I'm just bringing it up that our front yard is now going to have a 10-foot wide sidewalk that's part of this trail that's going in.
Trail project, right.
And now, you know, it's just. I guess I'm a little nervous because we had discussed this veterans thing last summer, and we were for that, and we had a 35-foot buffer, and everything was fine. Maybe not the kind of homes that we wanted at that time, but we were supporting the vets, and that's a big deal to us. But tonight we're on a different thing, and we're just, for me personally, I'm concerned that what if we're getting these great ideas that he's shown us, and then it turns out to be something else?
We can't. It can't.
That's why we have the development agreement. It's going to be, that's why they swore to testimony. What they said is what's happening.
Okay. Because it seems like they can go down to a 1,000-foot home, the way I read that.
Well, they're not going to do that for the price
They'll
point they're
lose
looking for.
money.
Yeah.
This is exactly why.
These are going to be big homes.
Don't show me a Cadillac and bring me a Fiat.
Okay.
Because you're going to have 5 really upset people up here.
More than that.
And with the development agreement, they can't do that.
Okay.
Well, and that's why I asked the question about the size. It's financially not feasible to put a $50,000 house on there. It just doesn't make sense. So they're probably even going to get bigger and more, you know, more valuable.
And that's fine, but some of the homes were like 1,400 to 1,600 square feet, and to be 350,000, that's to me in this economy a stretch. And you know, I'm not in the home building industry. I don't know, but that sounds like a high dollar amount for the size of the homes that are proposed. So for me, nice homes, that's great. I'd like to see 15 lots on E2, what we're on, but if that can't be, at least make sure we're going to have nice homes. And we prefer the buffer, and that's all I had. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the council? Yes, sir.
My name's Henry Jean. Yeah, one of them. I'm at 530 Lafayette. And I'm going to tell you guys, I've never come, this is the only second meeting I've ever been to, and I want to say I'm ashamed of you.
Thank you.
Don't threaten the people of this
I don't
community.
think, sir,
that you
first of all,
live.
don't come to this meeting and threaten us.
Mr. Roniker, you know better than to sit there and talk about rezoning, and they could densify this, they could put anything. You represent us, not them.
I represent everybody in Oldsmar.
You
sent an email today
benefit-
saying you would want anything there. Well, that's not going to happen.
But I didn't send an email. This is the first you've ever heard of me.
Okay. Then I apologize for that, but don't come here and threaten us.
No, you threaten them. I'm just
I
saying
don't threaten
shame on
anybody,
you.
first of all, sir.
Yes, you
And I
guys.
take great offense to that.
Mr. Beavis actually stood there and say, hey, we could get something much worse. We could have heavier density. We could have all these things.
That's a statement. That's not a threat.
That's not a threat. That's reality, though.
But you're using your 3 minutes, so.
But when you represent all of us, you got to remember home values. people's life, tranquility, the Constitution.
I believe home values are going to increase with this project.
Absolutely.
There's no question about it in my
The last
mind.
time I checked doing comps, there's no such thing as a $218 per square foot house. Where are you building that? 214. Did you do the math on 1,400 and 1,600 to get to 300 and 350,000? Where is that happening? I just say, just represent us, not them. Represent the people as well.
I've always represented the people, sir.
Not
And I
saying that
don't care for your remarks.
I would like to ask them,
We'll get back to them.
Okay.
Wait a minute for that.
but
Let me still hear from the public.
okay.
Yes, sir.
My name's Lee King. I have two properties. I own 508 East Buckingham and 506 Buckingham.
I got the email from you this afternoon.
Now, you didn't meet with me.
No?
I sent
Not
you
me,
an
but
email, though.
Email, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
I
probably
apologize to Mr.
you
Jean.
probably already have the background in my
Yes,
thinking
sir.
already.
Yeah, you don't want anything there. That's basically what.
And I didn't say that. I said that, here's what I said in that email that I sent to Janice Miller and somebody here. I said that I wouldn't have a problem with it if everybody played by the same rules. I built two houses here and remodeled two houses here, and I played by the same rules. The rules should be the rules for everybody. The people on Lafayette, all right, who played by the rules and built their houses there and expected to have those houses just the way they were and the buffers that were set a long time ago. Now, I just don't understand why we need these variances. We wouldn't even be here if they paid attention to the rules. If they did not had one variance, I really don't give a damn about a bike path. You know, I really don't care.
Wait a minute. What,
I sent you an email too. Did you read it?
I didn't get it.
You did get it. I sent it to you.
Well, I haven't gotten it.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't read it.
The city manager told me about your email. But I don't care. I don't care. Watch your language up here.
All righty, I'll do it. But I didn't think that was a bad word, damn. I mean, you know, they build a lot of places here. I mean, I didn't use a lot of four-letter words, but the people on Lafayette expect the same treatment that when they built their house. That's what they expect.
Mr. Mayor, wait a minute. I have to say something. I owned all that land on Lafayette at one time, and if I had played by the rules, there'd be 50-foot lots there. I didn't play by the rules. I came to the city and said, I don't want 50-foot lots on Lafayette. I want them bigger, okay? So sometimes you don't play by the rules. Everybody can't play by the same rules because they live in different areas.
Mr. Beeverland, how much money did you make off those sales?
I didn't make a whole lot, and it's none of your business.
With anything, yeah.
Right. All right, listen, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just saying, when I walked up here, I thought the council, and I've been sitting back there, listen, I think you already have your minds made up. It doesn't matter what we say.
You know, but when your last sentence in your email says, the last and most troubling point is that I am not sure that it is wise to allow any development on this property.
That's true. I don't know. Are you
property owners allowed to develop this property?
Wait a second now. Let me finish. Have any of you read Project Phoenix? Do you know what that even is?
No idea what Project Phoenix is.
I have no idea.
Do you know what it is?
No.
Well, then you should read it because it's a disaster plan for Oldsmar. But I'm not going to get into that now. Yeah, it was a study done by some people in Tampa that said what the effects would be of a Class 4 hurricane hitting Reddington Beach.
If a Class 4 hurricane hit here, there's nothing going to be here anyway. So
yeah, that's correct. So the question is, why should we throw 30 more houses in a place that may be destroyed?
Why did we allow you to build your houses then?
Yeah, but you know something?
Why did we allow you to build your house there then?
I actually rebuilt my house to the Miami-Dade code. I expected to stand up to 155 miles an hour.
We let you build your houses because you own two pieces of land there. And you had every right to build them. The owner of that land has every right to build on that land.
It appears, and I'm just going to step back here for a minute, that you guys have already made up your mind. This project is going through.
First of all, I take offense.
May I say something?
Thanks for that.
I know you do.
Excuse me.
And rightly so.
May I say something,
Yes, ma'am.
please?
Go right ahead.
I'm going to ask you to sit down first, Mr. King.
I used
She's
to
gonna make a
sit
comment.
on the planning board for 7 years, okay?
I tried to
When
get on the
that-
planning board.
When that,
I'm asking you to sit down, please. 3 minutes are up. She's going to comment.
when the Walmart was going to come in, everybody that lived behind there, that was already there, okay? What do they call that? What is the name of that?
Suncatch.
Suncatch, yes. Suncatch was already there. People were complaining about that. They wanted that property to be vacant. And I said, do you really think that that property owner on Tampa Road, of all places, is going to sacrifice and financially so those neighbors wouldn't have anything in front of them? That's why you buy property, so you can do things with it. Yes, that's what variances are for. And I'll tell you something else. When these houses are built, if they're not built with a pool, if some of these houses don't have pools, when people decide they want a pool, they're going to come to the city for a variance. You think we're not going to give it to them? When you're in a $350,000, no, you can't have a pool. We're not going to give you the variance for the pool. That's ridiculous.
Well, the way we're protecting.
So now this variance is already in this deal. So it's already taken care of. I don't know. I have bent over backwards. I try to listen to the people. And he walks out.
Well, the door does that.
You know, we try to listen to the people. We try to do what they want.
Well, we are.
But you know what? We got to think about the city too.
Well, we are protecting this in a way because I don't think anybody up here.
No.
I don't think anybody up here would vote for a condominium down there.
I'm still looking for opposition from the public if anybody wants to address the council. Yes, sir.
I'm about to have it.
Can I give a handout to each of you?
Certainly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bob Baker, 241 Lafayette Boulevard. You guys got a tough job. You have my utmost respect for the time that you put in and the things you do for the city, and this past few minutes has been unnecessary.
Thank you.
I've heard people talking about compromise and everything else. We're part of the deal. Nobody's come to talk to us about anything. Nobody's asked our input on anything. It would be nice if somebody would come knock on our door if they wanted to get us to compromise on something and come talk to us and ask us. We're not trying to shut this project down. We're disappointed that this was zoned as a PUD and the original project was what we were hoping to have back there. This is kind of a loop now, totally different from what we were sold before, but we are by no means trying to shut this down or anything else. We would have preferred the veterans back there, but we want our buffer as much as possible. There probably is room for compromise, but it'd be nice if somebody would include us in it. And that's about all I got to say. And there's our rebuttals to the findings on the variances. Most of them, we don't care. We just want the buffer.
And wait a minute, before you sit down, I want to thank you, the way you've handled this.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, is right.
You know, like I said, you guys got a hard job, and we appreciate all the work you do for the city, the years, the time that you all have put in, and you all deserve more respect than that.
Thank you very much.
When I owned that piece of property on Lafayette, I could have put 9 50-foot lots there.
Oh, no, I appreciate what you did. You made the lots worth having at 100 by 200.
And I didn't make a whole lot of money on that.
It's nobody's business what you made.
I could have made a whole lot more if I'd had money at the time, and I could have left them, but if I left them 50-foot lots, but that's not what this is all about. It's
No, my family develops property too. I mean, I know these guys are getting a sweet deal. I do worry about the amount of taxpayer money that's going into this and how long it's going to take the city to get its money back in property taxes. And like I said, my family develops real estate too. So these guys are getting a pretty sweet deal in my opinion, but I'm not going to go into all that right now.
I would have preferred a larger buffer myself because, my daughter lived there for a long time. And I bought as much land as I possibly could.
Yeah, I know. I was the second house next to her, so.
I wished I could have bought the rest of the land out there, but, I couldn't. And for a long time, it was for sale.
I know. I've wanted to buy the lots behind me for ages too.
I did what I possibly did.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your considerations and your time.
In fact, I bought the lot behind Denise, and that's why she doesn't have to worry about the buffer. And I understand how she feels. I understand her representing y'all. But if I got bought more back there, then you wouldn't have to worry about a buffer either. But
I've tried since I've moved in. I've tried to buy the lot behind me. So I've been on it for 16 years now trying to buy it. Just could never get anybody to sell.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Anybody else want to speak in opposition of the project? Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Here when the swearing in took place? Do I need to be
There was no
sworn
swearing in. No, you can just
Okay,
come up and talk. Yeah.
good. Hi, my name is Paco Amram. I live at 440 Lafayette Boulevard. I don't know if you own that lot, but I like my 100-foot by 200-foot lot. Thank you very much. My kids enjoyed it too.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So I'm here, Denise passed around some information about the development and some concerns about it, and asked if we shared those concerns to come speak. And looking at it and trying to be as objective as I can, I do share some of those concerns that she has. And I had a friend who's a planner look at it a little bit, give me some comments and his opinion. I'll just try to cut to the chase. I'm not opposed to a development there. I think if I owned that lot, I would definitely want to do something with it at some point. First, I'd rather make it a nature preserve, but that wouldn't make me any money. If I needed it, I'd want to develop it. But I think this plan, if I were sitting in your shoes, I think I would send it back to the drawing board. I don't know how you can really conclude that it meets some of those criteria for the variances. That it's not for more financial gain. Some of the variances, like the lot size, to reduce the lot width, that's to fit more lots, to get more money out of it. The density doesn't seem compatible. I don't know how you can look at a 7,500 square foot lot and say it's compatible with a 20,000 square foot lot. I mean, that's pretty simple, straightforward. I think that needs to go back to the drawing board, and it's a solvable problem. There'd be fewer lots, but if you're going to build a $450,000 home, I wouldn't want to pay $500,000 and have a 65-foot, 7,500 square foot lot.
Do it all over.
When I'm looking at my neighbor's lot thinking, gosh, why didn't they make this lot like Denise's lot? Then we'd really have a lot of trees and a lot worthy of a house that big and pricey. I also question that price point. If the price point is a consideration in your decision, then I think that merits a little bit of scrutiny. Really, I'm trying to think of a 1,600 square foot home that's worth that much, and unless it's right on the water, maybe on the bay.
Well, I don't know about the 1,600 foot.
Yeah, I don't
You may have a point there.
Yeah.
But you go to West Chase.
Yeah.
Those homes are very expensive on little tiny pieces of land. Now, I don't know what the square footage is of the house, but they're my daughter bought hers. I don't understand it.
Yeah, but looking at our own community and how how lots have been or houses have been selling, I don't think that we have houses selling for that much that are that small. And such a small lot, I don't think is realistic for that. May I take a minute just to show a couple images?
Real quick.
Okay, I'll make it super fast.
Thank you for your disposition also, thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm fallible, so I'm trying to recognize myself. This is just an aerial photograph of the area. Obviously, that's the development right there. This is zoomed in a little bit, showing the parcels on Lafayette. And
We have that drawing.
And I know you have that as well. Again, all these are half acres, and you see all the density of homes here. Now, if you were to transition from bigger lots to smaller, well, you might also need to do that from this side to these residents here. They're also not looking to live in a very dense area there.
There were estate lots back
And this
there.
is an overlay of, it's a rough overlay, it's not exact.
We have that.
But, this density versus that density, I just don't.
It's zoned
I
differently,
don't
isn't
see any
it?
way that you can really deem it
Isn't it zoned differently?
compatible.
Residential low land use, 5
Yeah.
units per acre.
All, the-
But with the homes that are there and what's there now, it just
no,
doesn't seem compatible.
I mean, the other part, further on, that's estate. We're,
yeah, they were
Yeah.
estates down there. They were all 1 acre lots.
yeah.
Okay,
So I thank you for your consideration.
thank you very much. Anybody else want to speak in opposition?
I also want to thank Denise, the way you've handled yourself. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody in favor? Nobody? Anybody just want to come up and say, hey? The public portion. I don't know if the applicant wants to come back up
I have a question
or,
for the applicant.
Okay.
Actually, for the builder. I mean,
I have a question for Marie real quick, too.
Yeah.
We just want to clarify that there may be one, it's possible, I guess, but the homes are not going to be in the 1,400 to 1,600 square foot
okay,
range.
that was what
Yeah,
I was going to
They're
ask.
two-story homes. They probably average somewhere between about 2,000 to 2,800 square feet. There'll be a typical family home. Two-story homes are typically for young families
2,000
with
to
some
2,800.
kids. So they
Yeah,
usually
that's
want
what
3 to 4
2,800
bedrooms.
feet's going for now. It is.
That's more,
It
that
is.
Paco's right, that makes a good
Councilman
point. You're not
Beavis
gonna
said-
get a $400,000 home for 1,600 square feet, that's not gonna happen.
No, I'm a realtor.
Unless it's on the
So, I
beach.
know how,
Right.
I know
Oh,
how,
sorry.
and so is Doug.
I was ciphering up here. Just clarification, and I know the answer, but I just want it to be on the public record. We have a 20-foot buffer, of which nothing can happen. We have a 35-foot setback. And we're talking about variances, and we wish we would, all play by the books. And I know in my neighborhood, and I know in other neighborhoods, we have setback requirements. And it is not uncommon to come to the council, as Councilmember Miller stated, to ask for a variance for a pool or whatever you want to put in there. Is that correct?
Correct. In
And-
Bay Arbor, we've had numerous variance requests.
variances all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
And I mean,
everywhere.
and I know that was the answer to that. But again, they cannot put a structure, any structure.
Correct.
So I'm trying to differentiate it's still 35 feet, that they can't have a structure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we're saying at 20 feet, you're going to see the back of somebody's house at 20 feet
Correct.
away.
Right.
So it is still a 35-foot space. The pool is on the ground. It's not.
Separation. between the
Separation.
structures,
It's still a separation.
They could have a shed, I think,
They could
right?
have a shed, an ancillary structure or something like that, which isn't uncommon
For
either.
example, the council, with the Woods of Forest Lakes, there was numerous variances that were part of the whole agreement. There was separation between certain lots and a certain section of the woods. And we have to make sure, we monitor when somebody came in for a building permit, we had to make sure that there was a 10-foot separation, but if somebody had a pool, then it had to be 20, and there was all these different caveats, so.
You can't, there can't be,
No,
there can't be one set of rules that applies equally to every single lot and every single development that goes in
Correct.
anywhere we go. So, thank you, that's my
And I
question.
just wanted to
Thank
point
you,
out,
Doug.
when you're looking at the aerial, on the east and the south is the Progress Energy right-of-way, and then to the west is the water reclamation
The sewer
facilities.
plant.
Well, so it's not, abutting, residential. It's, buffered by the Progress Energy and the Water Reclamation. And it's an odd-shaped lot, or parcel, excuse me. So that's one of the reasons for the, request to support the variances.
But it's 7 total houses that it affects. Am I reading that right?
7 or 5?
No, 5.
Actually, there's
So 7
4 houses really, and there's one that's in foreclosure.
5, God bless you.
Oh, God bless.
So there's, if you look at the aerial, so the last 2 lots are really not affected. The ones to the west.
Who owns that?
I don't know what that is. What is it?
And I believe,
Is that a lot?
pass it down. These are the property owners, so there's
That's a lot. for
there's
now.
actually 4 lots, I think that,
Then why is
So
it
it's 4 that are
5 direct?
affected?
5, actually 5, but one of them
That's it.
actually is in
5.
foreclosure.
They're on Lafayette.
But that doesn't matter.
It's enough, okay.
Address the triangle issue.
Okay, originally when they submitted the variance request, they included that triangle parcel, but it is not in the development agreement legal description. And the applicant's representative realized the mistake, and he, emailed us the new or correct legal. So when he first submitted this, that triangle was part of the legal description for the variance request, but not for the development agreement. So
So that parcel is just staying as is,
it's not included.
Right here?
that little triangle.
Oh, okay.
You can't build on it anyway.
No. But it's just nice to have the trees and whatever's there. I don't know
Yeah,
what's there.
yeah.
All right, any other questions for staff?
No, not right now.
Thank you very much. I don't know if the applicant wants to say anything else?
No, I think we've covered ourselves.
Okay. All right, now comments.
I'll go first. I don't care. First of all, I would like to say that I take complete offense to some of the comments that were made tonight. I personally have never come in to a city council meeting with an answer in my mind. If we do, we're not doing our job. We come up here, we listen to the public, and we take everything that they say into consideration.
Yeah.
As the gentleman said earlier, that, this is probably going to be developed into something. It's our responsibility to try and make sure that it's the best possible thing that can go in there for all parties involved. The 100 by 200 lots, that would be great, but we wouldn't have Oldsmar. We wouldn't have a lot of the things that we had if we continued to have, we can't all be 100 by 200 lots, as nice as it would be. And I remember when I moved here in 1982, and I had friends that lived in Eastlake Woodlands, which is called Oldsmar. And back in it was probably 1995, my friend said, "Oh no, I live in Palm Harbor." And his friend, taking a jab at him, said, "No, you live in Oldsmar." They were embarrassed to say that they lived in Oldsmar. But I think it's because of the decisions that have been made up here by this council and certainly many previous councils that we have a city that is second to none right now. It's always the, I don't care if you build it, just don't build it next to me. I think the city of Oldsmar, we're getting ready to cut the ribbon on our 5th hotel. We've got some of the greatest restaurants. I'm all over the county doing real estate, and that is the one thing that I continue to hear is, I cannot believe the quality of restaurants that you have, the quality of homes, and how far Oldsmar has come from JR's in the flea market to what it is now. And it is a tough decision. I don't recall who said that we have a tough job up here, but we do, and something's going to go in there. And I think in Denise's email, she stated that the villas, that this is certainly better than the villas. We wish we didn't have to do variances, but as Marie said, not everything fits in the same box every time. I don't know about the price point and the thing. To be honest with you, I hope it does. I hope at 2,200 square feet at $350,000, it's $159 a square foot. Being a realtor, I'm all for it. They're about 127, 128 right now in the area and some of the newer things. So if you can bring the price point up, not only will I be happy, I think the people around there are going to be happy. But again, we do not come in here with an idea in our head. If we do, shame on us. And, I really don't have any other questions or comments. I do know that I think I'm talking to Bruce that, I know we went to the 65, but it's kind of, you're smushing it this way, but going longer, it's still a 7,500 square foot footprint, and if that works for them, that's fine. So those are my comments. I was just kind of offended by some of the things that were said tonight. Not by everybody, but, and I don't like the fact that somebody comes into the council and takes shots at us, and because they don't like what they're hearing, they get up and leave. Stay to the end of the fight. Thank you.
That doesn't bother me, but.
And I've always made all my comments. Everybody knows how I feel.
Okay. Anyone else?
That's it.
I personally am not offended because I understand that emotions are running high on both sides of this thing, because this is a big deal for Oldsmar. It's the first subdivision we've done in, what, Jerry, 20 years? Or how many ever years it's been since we've done a subdivision? I don't know. When was the last one?
1990 Bay Arbor.
Yeah.
Bay Arbor. So
For quite a while. So I understand that it's an emotional issue, and it's a business issue, and it's a living issue, and everything else. So I'm just a little concerned about the discrepancies in what is being said about the law. So I'm glad that the mayor was questioning Tom about all of the different things that are being brought up as to what is right, what is within the code. Are we within the complete letter of the law, and the only argument here or the only debate here is the size of the variance? Is that completely clear, or are any of the points that are being brought up in the emails and by the opponents have any merit?
Well, that's for you to decide. That's why you're up here.
Okay,
Frankly, I mean, Tom gave his opinion on the variances. He made that clear, and it's for us to decide now. So you've heard from the opposition, you've heard from the applicant, you've heard from staff, you've got all the documents. This is the second reading.
Okay.
Now it's time for you to decide what you're going to do.
And you've heard from Tom that he's comfortable with it.
Comfortable
So-
with the development agreement?
Yeah, so now it's up to us to
The
make
council will
some-
decide. You've heard from the planning board.
Okay, because I talked, see, and by the way, I didn't make up my mind, by the way.
I didn't think so,
See, because Tom, did I contact you for all this information to make sure we're okay?
Yeah, we definitely had a conversation about the issues, and it took a long time on the telephone, a lot of questions, and tried to answer those questions.
That's right. Okay. So I didn't just have my mind made up.
Nobody ever has up here. Nobody ever has up here, ever.
Not tonight.
Many times we've went along with something and then changed it at the last second. It happens a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And I do think that it's good that the people that did say their piece, and then the developers are agreeing to even do more for the
buffer,
the privacy and the buffer and everything. So I think that was productive.
And I guess the question is, and this is what you're asking, I think, and Tom has said that, you know, he's fine with what it is and it's for us to decide, is that, and Denise's question is it for the benefit of the developer to grant this variance? And I don't know that that's the case, because really what happens is, as he stated tonight, if the variance isn't granted, it's not a feasible project and it goes away. Is that good for the city? No, I really don't care how much money they make, to be honest with you. I don't care if they make a dime. But if they can't build the project, then we as a city are not doing well. We're not benefiting. We're not, you know, increasing our tax base. So to be honest with you, I don't care how much money you make. But I mean, I hope you do, but it's more about, will the project move forward if we don't do this? And if it doesn't, according to them, then.
Is it good for the city, right?
That's why I would definitely vote against condominiums or townhouses out there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The property
I would
owner is
too.
entitled to develop the property.
Right.
Absolutely.
With the developer, and actually came up with a pretty nice plan, in my opinion. You know, they jumped through hoops to get to where they're going to be. And this is a quality project.
Yes,
you want a
and
motion?
the fact that they're going to put extra trees and stuff, so you guys can't see them, you know, it might take a couple of years for them to grow, but I think that's great.
You got a motion?
Okay, I got the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
The motion is for staff's recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, second, Sam? Okay. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, I'm opposed.
4-1?
I am. I would have rather had 25, like you said, Jerry. At least that.
That's fine, I mean.
But then you don't have the project.
Well,
Listen, everyone.
Well,
Wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa.
come on, you don't have to fuss at me for my vote.
Hey.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
Everybody has a right to vote the way they want.
Thank you,
it.
Jerry.
But I'm.
The motion passes 4-1. We're moving on.
Thank you, counsel. Move forward.
Thank you. Mayor and council, item 13, consider adoption of resolution 2013-04, revising the budget for FY 12 and 13. As you know, we typically do a formal budget review in February and June of each year, and so this is the February review for the current fiscal year. And the purpose of that is to adjust the budget based on things that have happened since it was adopted last September, or things that we anticipate in the near future that were not part of the original budget adoption. This proposed amendment, I'm going to run through the list of things in the general fund. We are looking at increasing the appropriation in the general fund of $412,000. On the revenue side, there are two additional revenue items. A federal grant for the trail in the amount of $152,000. The council approved that at the last meeting. Revenue from red light camera program, $260,000. Expenditures within the general fund include paying the vendor for the red light cameras, $230,000. That grant increase for the construction of the trail, $152,000. There are two transfers to the public safety fund for the fire engine, $260,000, and to the transportation impact fund, $100,000. The contingency reserve is decreased $330,000. Because of those transfers, that impacts two other funds, public safety impact. As I said, there is an increase of $260,000. That's part of the cost of the new fire engine. Transportation impact fund is an increase of $350,000. That is for the State Street extension and the Wellington Estates project just discussed. In the Community Redevelopment Agency, there's an increase of $1,450,000. That was for the purchase of the Goodrich property. And in the Debt Service Fund, an increase of $1,550,000, and that was the refinancing that we did last year for the debt on that to purchase the property. So I'll read Resolution 2013-04 by title only, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2012 and ending September 30, 2013, authorizing the city manager and the director of administrative services to revise the existing budget. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to respond to those. I recommend the adoption of Resolution 2013-04.
Thank you very much. We have a motion for Resolution 2013-04.
Second.
Motion second. Just one other thing. We didn't even really talk about the extension of State Street, which is something we've been trying to do for 7 or 8 years, and that project makes this happen.
Whoa. How many years?
Well, I've been on council for 10. I remember at least 8 years ago when Todd Adams bought the property. And we
How about 70 years?
Right, well, I didn't know who the other landowner was before then. But we got the motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item, consider adoption of Resolution 2013-05, establishing a policy on the use of revenue from the red light camera program. The resolution, it's the same information that we discussed at the last meeting, and the proceeds from the revenue generated from the camera program and how that's used. They're listed in priority order. This is the same information that was discussed at the last meeting. There was one change in item number 6, as the council discussed last week. It reads, capital outlay projects related to public safety are construction of transportation improvements. I'll read Resolution 2013-05 by title only. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, providing for the manner in which revenue generated from red light cameras within the city is to be utilized and providing for an effective date hereof. That's the reading of Resolution 2013-05 by title only. I recommend its adoption.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for Resolution 2013-05?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion second. Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Anything else?
That's it for tonight. Thank you.
We're going to get the red light report in the next meeting, March 9th or whatever? Okay.
Next meeting,
I remember
March
you said
5th.
March 5th. I didn't get to meet with you today, so a little off. City Clerk.
Yes. Item number 15, adopt resolution 2013-03, amending the Veteran Memorial Advisory Board regulations. And we discussed this at the last council meeting, and you authorized, council authorized city attorney to prepare the resolution. I'm going to read it by title only. Resolution number 2013-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, providing for the composition and appointment of the Veterans Memorial Advisory Board, providing that the board will serve without compensation, providing for its organization, the conduct of its meetings, and legal counsel, providing for its purpose and functions, providing for the repeal of Resolution 2008-04, and providing for an effective date hereof. and city staff recommends adoption of resolution number 2013-03.
Thank you very much. We have a motion for resolution 2013-03.
Got it.
A second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Anything else?
Just wanted to share something that's pretty interesting. I have a very unique job, and when I first went into the office and was looking at some things, I found this note. It sounded a lot like a mafia hit. It says, "Fred, blow up Wally Owen." It's very scary. I opened it up.
What does it say?
Fred, blow up Wally Owen.
Blow up Wally Owen.
This is Wally Owen. Yeah, of course. Vice Mayor Beverly knows Wally Owen's story, but he resigned as mayor to join the Navy CB right after Pearl Harbor.
And did you finally go to the book and see the article?
Yep.
Thank you.
You
But
found
we
that in the
did
city
blow up
clerk's
Wally
office?
Owen. So I'm introducing you to Wally Owen.
His stepson still lives here on Park Boulevard.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting to note is that so the elections back then were in January. So in January 1941, he won the vote, but the canvassing board kept having to postpone because it couldn't get a quorum because people were sick. He won by one vote, 60-1 against the incumbent Mayor Monier. So your vote counts.
I saw your email today about
I
that.
didn't see that too. No, I saw the Facebook post, yeah.
I'll just pass them down so you can see them.
If anybody,
And then
You can see Wally.
I just wanted to let you know that the Gallery of Mayors, he will be added. We're going to wait a little bit because some of the mayors have faded and some, so we're going to save the mayors. After we save the mayors, we're going to hang
Take
them
offense
all.
to that.
They're gonna hang it.
that's what happened to mayors, they just fade away, Jim.
Oh.
Here's the,
Thank you. Nothing else?
that's it.
Thank you very much. Comments by council members. We'll start with Councilmember Miller.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
To tell you the truth, I don't have a whole lot to say.
Yes.
Or are you gonna we'll let you lead the way?
She's over, she's finished.
Nothing? That's
I
nothing
really
wrong.
don't have a lot to say, no.
We're not mad at you for that. Councilmember Norris, thank you.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you to the Friends of the Oldsmar Library for what a wonderful Valentine's Day tea that they had. It was really nice. And of course, to remind everybody that Oldsmar Cares is this Thursday from 6 to 9. And
Handsome devil.
it. We have one more meeting before the election, so I want to say good luck to all the candidates. I see that you guys are all out there every day doing a good job, so good luck. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Beebus.
I don't have a lot. I was trying to get the picture over to our IT guys, but I had a very nice Valentine's Day. I was presented with a grandson on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Presented with a what?
Grandson.
A grandson.
is it Grandpa?
Grandson.
On Valentine's Day, Joshua Isaac was born. And he weighed exactly as, I won the bet, 7 pounds, 11 ounces. Of course, because I like to go to 7-Eleven, so that's why I picked it. But, and Linda said too, Oldsmar Cares, the wine gala, I think it's sold out. I'm not sure, they may have a few tickets left, but myself and Virginia Johnson will be the host of the event. And if you've never gone to it, it's a really first-class event. So if you've got tickets, see you out there. If you don't, maybe next year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Mayor.
I just ask can we get a history from DOT of the yellow light on Forest Lakes Boulevard and Tampa Road? Can they give us a history of that, how it operates during the day?
You mean like what the sequence is or something?
Because in the morning it's long, and then at noontime it decreases quite a bit. And I almost
The ITS stuff?
I almost ran the thing not the other day. So could they give us the fluctuation that they have on that one?
Well, it's not quite that easy. I'm sure there are minimums and maximums, but basically it is, it's adjusted based on real time and what's actually happening.
But do you think they could give us?
I'll see what I can find out.
And other than that, just thank you all for being here and thank you all who you are. And Mayor, you have one more meeting, right?
One more. Oh, no.
One more meeting.
1.5.
1.5.
1.25.
Oh, I forgot a compliment. at the Golair Village Candidates Forum, Bob Little came up and complimented the entire council, you, mayor, and everybody, in saying how much we do care about Golair and we help them out, and about the issue with the code enforcement. I forgot to tell you that.
Thank you. I forgot to say something when I was giving the deputy clerk and the clerk an award, and it was something special to me, but 2 years ago, the children's, the children's, not cancer, what is it? The children's, we do the margarita thing for.
All
Children's Hospital approached me 2.5 years ago and asked me if I could get the mayors of North County involved in a margarita mixing contest. And I know the mayors pretty well, and they all agreed. So I reached out to Ann and Kathy, and they just took it with open arms. And within the second year, we raised $37,000 for just a 3-hour event, which is pretty phenomenal. So I want to applaud you guys for your efforts on that as well. And I specifically wanted to mention that. That slipped my mind.
And we won Best Margarita.
And we won Best Margarita 2 years in a row. So you're going to have to start taking over for that.
That's right.
The only other thing is, last week I had the opportunity for the last time to go to Tallahassee as the mayor. Well, actually, I was going on behalf of the printing industry, but the mayor title on your business card gets you into a lot of doors that normally we wouldn't get to do. But I want to especially thank Senator Latvala and Representative Hooper, our local delegation, who both came and spoke at our lunch and in the morning and the afternoon. So really appreciate those guys doing what they did for us here and for the city of Oldsmar for that matter too. So I just wanted to thank them personally. Other than that, that's all I've got. Need a motion for the tentative agenda?
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Over.
Yikes.